3, 2, 1, action.
Good evening. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call the September 5th Board of Education, Broken Harmony Unity School District Board of Education meeting to order at 7:37 p.m. Okay. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1.3, approval of the agenda. Recommended action resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the agenda as presented. So moved.
Second, please.
Question? Oh, sorry, it was me, it was Josh and
Sarah.
Sarah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Moving on to President's report. President Tay couldn't be here today, so I have the report for her. Welcome back to all of our students and staff. It has been a busy summer at the district with the future facilities plan improvements well underway. September will be busy with back to school events, and seniors are already sitting for their senior portraits. CET will have its kindergarten back to school night on Tuesday, September 10th, the first and second grade on September 12th, third and fourth grade on September 17th. Please consult the district calendar from those days. Well, those days on the calendar. If so. PVC 5th and 6th grade back to school nights are on September 19th. 7th and 8th will be on September 24th. And the Croton Harmon High School back to school night will be on September 25th. At all these events, there will be opportunities to purchase your Tiger gear and support our PTAs and the PTSA. Please consider joining and looking out for information about the Booster Club on ways to support our student athletes, as well as attending fall sporting events. Just a reminder that the Booster Club will be meeting on Tuesday, September 10th. While Anna's not here, she did have an opportunity to welcome everyone back at the Superintendent's Day on August 28th, and I was able to attend the new professional orientation on August 26th, where we welcomed 17 new faculties to the Croton Harmon family. Tonight, before this meeting, we held the third of our Meet the BOE sessions, the rotunda from the building, or the back of the building, a half hour before the meeting. We have these sessions scheduled before each regular and work session for the foreseeable future. As we have explained in the past, this is an opportunity for the community to meet with the Board of Education and to convey thoughts outside of the 3 minutes allotted for hearing of the public. This is just a reminder that anyone can reach the board via email at boe@chufsd.org or via our website on the BOE page under the Submit a Question to the BOE tab. Thank you to all who continue to attend these meetings and send us your emails. We look forward to write the story of the school year together. This concludes the President's report. We will move now.
Before we do that.
Yes.
Let me just, 1 second.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Okay, we will now move into hearing of the public. Any members of the public who wish to speak? They do so at the podium.
No worries.
Please identify yourself, your district address, and
Okay.
I'm sorry, let me just finish. And please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Not a problem. My name is Dave Tunnell. I live at 94 Grand Street in Croton, Hudson. I'm also school aide here. Really tired. You know, I wake up at 5:30. Get here at 7:30, work with the kids all day. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are too. So I'm gonna keep it short. I'm tired in many ways. I'm tired of having to fight for fair wage. We're not asking now, from what I understand, I have a little bit more insight on the talks you guys have, we're asking. Today, right, it's disgusting. We're gonna continue, we're not going away, we're gonna continue our fight until we get what we think is we deserve, and it's not much. We're not asking for what we think we really should get. We're thinking about what we can get right now. So just, we don't even have to bother going through this huge process. $20 from the start, right now, and then we build on it. Thank you, have a good night.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Mhm.
My name is Erica Loudon. I live at 124 Penfield Avenue. I just think I wanted to bring to the attention to the Board of Education. And I guess ask the following questions, why do we have students getting A's and E minuses in classes, but they're not doing well, and in some cases failing Regents and AP exams? And where's the oversight of the administration and accountability that the teachers are actually teaching the actual, Regents and AP curriculum, and then testing the content in the classroom so that the grades better reflect the curriculum? And I think this way, students and parents have a better understanding of their child's knowledge prior to the AP exam. So when their kid comes back with like a 1 or 2 on the AP, it's not like a shocker. Why did my kid not do well on the AP when they have an A in this class? And lastly, who's doing an assessment to determine whether the teachers are actually teaching the comprehensive AP and Regents curriculum? Because by all accounts, like, I was really shocked to find out that less than 30% of the AP chemistry class was taught by March 2024. So it was not until a replacement was brought in that a dramatic increase in AP test results occurred. And maybe that's something you can replicate this in other AP classes where you have poor test results. Thanks a lot.
Environment from Montreal Drive. I'd like to first express my support for the teacher grade or the aides of Crook County School District. I was paid as a substitute teacher at a Catholic school in the Bronx. $20 more per day than these aides are paid in 2024. And that's despicable. Talk about justice, we got to dispense little justice. I'm going to talk about a couple of things. One, we're worried about the upcoming high school summit on changing the curriculum. We're extremely skeptical of what the school systems do in this state, which usually done to cover deficiencies as opposed to improve the situation, even though it's done under their cover. We're looking forward to that. But specifically to address the housing crisis in Croton. The proposals before the village board and the planning board, which this board has participated in. Quietly behind the scenes, sometimes secretly. Proposed a population increase in village of Croton, at least 1,000 people. If they pick pieces of property, maybe 2,000. I'm a proponent that anyone who owns a place to live is entitled to have their children. And I believe that sincerely. If they're a grandparent, they're entitled to get a kid from Scranton, Pennsylvania. As you know, 25% of grandparents raise their grandchildren in this country. So the proposals which this administration, this village want to go through would increase the village of Croton population by 15 to 20 to 25%. And every one of those people, in my opinion, and in soon it'll be a court opinion, are entitled to have their children there and deserve to go to these public schools. That's my opinion, and I believe the courts will uphold that eventually. We don't know what is going on behind the scenes with some of these properties. Some of them are obvious, some are not obvious at all. We don't know where they're gonna land, but if I were a school board, I would wanna know what is going on behind the scenes. How can a state that has driven 1 million people out of this state because of its taxation systems and its terrible environment for business, 1 million people in 3 years? How can it have a housing crisis? Now, we saw people flee New York because of the terrible policies of that city, which the mayor said are destroying this city. But that's only accounts for 60,000 people, at least in this county. So there are other things going on. And as public officials, we're counting on you to find out what's going on. Why is there a housing crisis? And we've developed this series of proposed principles, and so far we have 1,300 signatures on our petitions. I'm going to present these for the record, to the board. This problem in Croton is a Board of Education problem, as well as a village problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wesley Collar, 2056 Quaker Ridge Road, parent of Dusty Amy Jeremy. First, want to congratulate the new leadership. From within 24 hours, a bunch of us already saw a marked improvement in responsiveness. And we want to thank you for that. And we're looking forward to a clean slate and hoping that we can work together as opposed to. Okay, a few things. With regards to the aides, I just want to say, I have a tenant who is a teacher's assistant. I thought maybe she was certified, but when I listened to her, it sounded more along the lines of a school aide being bonded. She makes $56,000 a year out of Henhud. So I really think that, you know, I just want to say that, you know, I have relationships with many of you, and for God's sakes, they're asking for $20 an hour. Just give it to them. You know, I'm taxing. I am paying $19,000 a year in school taxes alone. For God's sakes, help these people. More importantly, I just want to say I concur with what Eric has said. As you know, a lot of people have been foiling some documentation of academics. And we have the grades within the classroom in addition to the AP region scores. The fact that our kids, and I have all the evidence, are getting A's and A minuses and getting 1s and 2s on their APs is despicable. After the results came out, 18 people called me directly to say, what is going on? I thought my kid was an A student. And I can tell you that it's unfair to these kids. Unfair to the parents who think their kids are A students, and they are not. It is this administration. I'm not sure if the assistant superintendent's had curriculum. I know it was that way for a long time. Where is the oversight to make sure that your teachers are teaching at an AP Regents level? It's that simple. And they should be testing, the quizzes and tests should be at that level to prepare them for their tests. And you have some stellar teachers, Mrs. Glaz and Mrs. Lim, and these people, those kids never have to study a minute for their APs. They walk out with 4s and 5s. It's very simple. I'm just gonna finish by saying, the replacement herself acknowledged that less than 30% of the curriculum was covered in chemistry. With 3 months' time, she brought up the average GPA in the last 4 years by 35%. At Mrs. O'Connell's suggestion to teach her that this needs to be done 8 years ago or 7 years ago, it can be done in your other disciplines. It is so simple. Lastly, the website. The government, Westchester government, directs every school district on their website. We're the only one to go to the landing page. It looks like it's a real estate presentation. There is no academics. The science presentations, we're relying on social media, for God's sakes. Why don't we land? Go look at Dobbs, look at Ardsley, look at any of
Ms.
them.
Clark, you can please wrap up your thought.
Kathy Connolly. She's absolutely right. It is disgusting that somebody could get an A in a chemistry class and then fail the regents. How is that even possible? And then when they ask the advisor, they're told, don't worry about it, the colleges won't see it. I don't care if the colleges see it. That's not good enough for me. I don't want to know that when my kid goes off to college, that they can succeed with the other people. Now that they were duped into getting into the college because they didn't see the regents exam. If you get an A in the class, you shouldn't be failing the class, the regents exam. It's despicable. So thank you, Dr. Sweeten.
Any other members of the public? Would any other members of the public like to address the board? In that case, we will move on to superintendent's report.
Thank you, Omar. Good evening, everyone. Thanks to everyone who's here in person, anybody watching at home. It's always a wonderful opportunity for me to get a chance to share some of the highlights, particularly this year as everyone returns to school over the past few days. So Greg, if you don't mind. Want to begin, as Omar did, by welcoming again our new members of the Tiger faculty. As Omar shared, 17 new members of the faculty joined us on Monday of last week to begin what we hope is a career-long relationship with the students and the families of this community. These folks represent an incredibly diverse range of experiences, of interests, of passions, but what they share is a genuine desire to be here doing the work that we're doing with the best kids and best faculty anywhere. So welcome again to these new Tigers. We look forward to all of our community meeting them over the course of the next few months. The next day, following day of last week, we spent time with our teacher leaders, curriculum coordinators, fellows, and coaches, about 45 or so phenomenal members of the faculty, reviewing with them, with our building principals, building and district level goals for the year, as well as engaging in discussions around teacher leadership and their contributions to this work going forward. So those 2 days leading up to Superintendent's Conference Day, I told the gang are 2 of the best days of the year because we get a chance to feel the energy that returns to the buildings when you have the faculty come back and get a chance to think about what the next 12 months can bring in terms of opportunities for our system. So thank you to all of those teachers for their ongoing leadership. Then we got a chance the following morning to welcome back all of the Tigers in the same place at the same time in the gym this year, because of course the auditorium is under renovation. And we were reflecting today that actually we really liked the experience of having everyone in the gym. It was just something about everyone seated around tables, eating together, welcoming each other back from summer. The energy in the room was infectious, and I think has led into what's been a really successful. So thanks to everyone who was a part of creating that morning. And then, of course, on Tuesday, as we've said before, this is one of the special days. Anywhere or any public school system to get a chance to open their doors to every school-age child in the community and say, come here, and for the next year, we're going to help you glimpse your dreams. We're going to help inspire you to be the best version of yourself. And for us, that's a great day just to get a chance to be in all the buildings, to be around the energy, to greet new kids and new faculty and welcome back all of our experienced Tigers. That was, again, one of the really special days of the year. So thank you to everyone whose work over the summer created such a smooth opening for our kids. Also, we had close to 400 students try out for fall sports this year, which is a significant increase over last year, which was a significant increase over the year before. So thank you to Christine, Drago, and all of our coaches and our facilities team whose work tirelessly over the summer helped to make it such a successful start to the year for our student athletes. I also want to mention that we've shared with our community and also through the village in the next couple of days, an update on some of our work that we shared with our parents here in terms of welcoming everyone back, sharing some updates in curriculum and instruction from over the summer, as well as a document that's been put together to provide the community with an update on the future facilities project. So make sure if you haven't seen that yet, check our website for that, check Parent Square for that, and soon hopefully check your village listserv if you're part of that for that update as well. Also had a chance on the first day of school, along with John and some of the other administrators, to visit something brand new for so many of our students at the high school, the first of our interdisciplinary courses. And so this was a journey that was multiple years in the making. But to get a chance to watch some incredibly talented faculty teaching elbow to elbow with each other, planning and implementing instruction in interdisciplinary core courses in humanities and STEM, these are learning opportunities that wouldn't have been possible for kids without amazing faculty working alongside each other. And so when we talk about the idea of a promise to the community, this to us is evidence of tremendous progress toward that and making the vision map truly become a reality. So thank you to all of those tremendous faculty members, to the high school administration and everyone who's been involved in making those happen. 60% of our freshman class are part of interdisciplinary classes now, and we expect in the next year it'll be 100%. Also want to take just a moment to thank who are truly some unsung but amazingly dedicated superstars, and really the reason why we don't ever have to worry about our buildings being unsafe or unclean or uninspiring places to come to work every day. The custodial buildings and ground facilities team is genuinely and truly second to none. Work all the time, and Brad knows this better than anybody. They do phenomenal work day in and day out here in incredibly unsung and behind the scenes ways, but their work this summer to make sure that these buildings are as clean and safe as they always are, despite the fact that there's major construction occurring across the district. It's remarkable, genuinely remarkable. So Brad, thank you for your leadership. To Greg Cicero and the entire team, way to go. And wanted to just again put in a quick plug for the Harry Chapin Memorial Run taking place on Sunday, October 20th here at CHHS. Mike and Carrie and Judd and the gang had a chance to spend some time with me. I had a chance to spend some time with them late this summer, and then Mike and Judd had a chance to address the entire faculty and staff on the Academic Superintendent's Conference Day. When we talk about being part of a school district community that genuinely cares for every family and every child, this is a great example of how we can do that. So thank you to Mike and Judd and Carrie for always making that such a special event. I look forward to seeing everybody here with some running shoes on, or with some walking shoes on October 20th. Thank you, Omar. That's it for me.
Thank you, Superintendent Walker. I will now turn it over to wonderful, first let me say welcome, Isabel McLaughlin, our new student extracurricular board member. Now I'll turn it over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabel and I was elected by the student body of CHHS to represent us at the Board of Ed as the student ex officio board member. So I'll be giving a report about the high school. So the first day of school at CHHS was a great day. I'm happy to report. Our incoming freshmen were reunited with their big buddies who they have met in the spring of the last school year. The Big Buddy program serves to help introduce incoming freshmen into the building and help them connect with the upperclassmen and feel welcome. The day started out with a group breakfast, followed by a tour of the school and divided schedules. And for the whole school, a generous barbecue lunch was held outside. So big thank you to the PTSA for sponsoring that. And then today, the 9th and 11th graders had their grade meetings. And in the 9th grade meeting specifically, they discussed the new opportunity of academic concentrations. Additionally, as Mr. Walker had stated, we have started all fall sports. And lastly, on October 8th, the high school will have its annual club and community service fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, 3.1 capital project update. I will hand it over to our Assistant Superintendent for Business to walk us through capital projects.
Thank you, Omar. So I'd like to invite up our capital projects team, Walt Hauser, Sarah Davis from KG&D Architects, Kevin Sawyer, and Ariana from Triton Construction. So before they go into the presentation, I would just like to commend this team and the leadership of Brad Kennedy and our entire facilities team. We awarded the bids for this project less than 3 months ago, and the volume of work that we've accomplished to date is just immeasurable. And I want to thank you so much for your support and your leadership throughout the process.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. It feels like just yesterday we were in front of the board in early June. Things moved very quickly. The summer went by very fast. But we're really excited to talk to you guys about and the community about all the achievements that we have done this summer. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that are going to be upcoming as well. I would like to also, as you Denise and the superintendent said, thank all the people who supported the construction process over this summer. Brad and his staff played a very integral part of making sure that the schools were open in a safe and clean manner like you guys are used to. Even though days before school opened, we were still busy finishing work, as a lot of you know, because we had a lot of committees and a lot of people walk buildings prior to make sure that it met the satisfaction of the board and the qualifications so necessary to open. And we're glad that we made it. I mean, this is really one phase of an exciting project. Yeah, just talk a little bit about accomplishments.
Yeah, I'd like to term unsung dedicated superstars. We all love that one. We put a lot of pressure on the building level staff and they. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what occurred this summer and the plan for what's gonna happen this school year going into next summer. So let's start with the athletic and security project. So you may remember that includes the work at Spencer Field, the work at the upper CET field, the PVC middle school play area, and security upgrades throughout the district. So the Spencer Field project is progressing behind schedule at the moment. That's an issue that we've been monitoring for a few weeks now. We've had some very productive conversations with the contractors to put together a recovery schedule. And we look forward to getting some positive feedback and progression on that. And we'll work to keep the district administration and the board updated in the next couple of weeks when we have a better sense of how that recovery schedule is going to come together. The work at the upper CET field is complete. You may notice you have a bigger field now. There's a new sod. We've infilled the end of the field and we have a big competition length field now. The grass just needs to continue to grow in. The work at PVC Middle School did not start this summer. That is planned for summer of 2025. So we are making all the preparations with submittals and all the work that happens with logistics to prepare to put a shovel in the ground. So that's happening behind the scenes. And the security work throughout the district is ongoing. So with a few shots on around today, the photographer.
So just because Ariana is new here as part of the team, I think it's probably a good idea that I formally introduce her. Mariana Missoura works for Triton Construction and she's helping Joseph Metz, who is also on site full time and couldn't make it here tonight due to a health reason. But I will be sure to introduce him to the board at another future meeting, and we're really excited to have you on board. Thank you very much for all your efforts. And she actually put together this presentation tonight, so thank you. So we want to just show some pictures of some of the activities that have been taking place, sort of side by side with the conversations we're having about the actual physical scope of work. Spencer Field, we had completed rock removal over the summer, which went very, very successfully.
Was ending around with blasting.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
Pretty cool. Removed a lot of material off the site, and a lot of underground trenching work and things of that nature, back into the field for future utilities. And of course, there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes with submittals and ordering of long lead materials and coordinating all the other portions of the project. So we're looking forward to seeing some more progress happening here in the upcoming weeks and months.
If I ask about that, so is the delay being behind schedule a consequence of what you just mentioned, Kevin? The ordering things, the coordination, or is it something that has anything to do with deficiencies in the contractors?
A little bit of both. There's a lot of different things that are playing out here that are causing some of those delays. But I do think that, we'll sit down with the contractor and he seemed, we spoke to him as early as a couple hours ago. in an effort to sit down with him. And really hash out all the issues once and for all, so that we can move forward with a good plan that's acceptable by the school district. So, yeah, we are a little bit behind, but, you know, we'll report to you any changes in the overall schedule as we learn it ourselves.
So the roofing project, was folks working on the roof as it came in.
Yeah, I do too.
The roofing has been replaced everywhere. So we have new roofs, at large areas of PVC and the high school. What's remaining over the course of the next couple of weeks is some what we call detail work, where they're putting pieces of trim here and there and tidying up some of the fine elements above on the roof. But for all intents and purposes, it's substantially complete. We're looking forward to completion of the roofing project this month for all the construction activities. And I'm happy to report that we are on schedule, under budget with that portion of the work. So very excited to finish the roofing project.
I think it's important to note too, that was an incredible amount of work that took place over this summer. We did a lot last summer, we did more this summer. So we're really proud of how that turned out. All the field flat work is done. We'll be closing that project out very soon.
And just a general comment, it's a pretty good group of contractors we have on the future facilities project in general, and the roofing contractor specifically did a really nice job in this phase of the work. So very pleased.
And the weather vane's back in PVC.
There it is.
Michael is so happy.
I know.
Michael smiling next to the cupola.
That thing's like 135 feet tall. That was, that's very high up. Yeah, we're very happy. That was one of the many things that were accomplished over the summer. Was making it functional again, and it wasn't an easy task. It required a lot of thought, a lot of design to make it work, and a lot of cleaning up. So we're really proud of that. In a few years, it'll start to turn green.
How often does it need to be greased?
I don't think it will. The way it's designed is a pivot. It's a pivot. It's hard for me to explain that. It's easier to show you on a piece of paper, but it's well mounted to the structure of the building, so not to go anywhere, which we're very happy about. And it's rather large. It's as tall as I am, so it's this. You can't really tell that from here.
What's up with the district on each building?
Sure, so, yeah, I mean, as I'm sure walking through the building, everybody recognizes now that there has been some changes made. And a lot of it was complicated stuff. Again, I think we had an incredibly successful summer in terms of the work that we took on. Even some additional work that we had not anticipated for things like hazardous materials that we felt it was very important to get removed out of the building sooner. Since we were there, we had that opportunity. We took it on and we got it done. So the flex space renovation, there's 2 toilets on the first floor that were remodeled. The spaces for the video production area is ongoing as there are some spaces that are still under construction, and we're actually doing that after school hours that are internal to the building where the students are. That can't be accessed because the public is utilizing those hallways. So we do have some work that will continue at night in the building and PVC also after school hours, so not to affect any students and the contractors. Also, the auditorium is out of service. We're looking to get that back for winter 2024, somewhere around, that January time. As long as we can get all the materials and long lead items, there are a few that we have a little concern about, but we're tracking that closely. And then, of course, on the outside of the building, you might see in the back where the parking lot is, we put some foundations in the ground for future lift from the lower floor to the upper floor by the music room. As well as a stair access to the boiler room, on that side, and we'll continue to work to get that portion of it completed too. Throughout the winter. At PDC, the Student Support Center, which is, well underway. It's really starting to take shape. Walls are up, so you can kind of get a sense of the spaces. It's gonna be really neat, when it's done, and it's right on schedule. So we're looking forward to seeing that finished in the fall. You might recognize through the corridor ceilings have been replaced with new ceiling tile for easier access, for things that are above. Gymnasium floor was replaced. And also in the back of the building, one of the underground fuel oil tanks was removed. And taken out, and we're gonna do that to a couple other tanks that are in the district as well in the upcoming year. And we want to show you some pictures of some of the spaces, interior spaces, bathrooms, gymnasium. It's yeah, go in and play.
The amount of work that was done this summer was actually quite remarkable, given the minimal amount of lead time the contractors had to order materials. So there was a pretty focused effort on finding the appropriate work that could be accomplished and with materials that were readily available. And as we move into this fall, for the school year into next year, obviously we'll start focusing on the components of the project that have long lead items. So there was no work really that happened at CET this summer by design, focus our efforts at PVC and the high school, but there was a lot of work that happened at the transportation facility. If you've been there, you'll notice that there's a whole new driveway, there's a big retaining wall in the back, the parking lot is expanded, and the infrastructure for the charging is now in the ground. So it's quite a lift, literally, to get that work done there. So very happy with the completion of that, or near completion of that project.
Again, due to an incredible contractor.
Yes, Alina did
Yeah.
a fantastic job. I think the only thing we're really waiting for is a rolling fence.
Yeah, the gate in the front.
On the way.
On the way.
So, question on that, the infrastructure, and this really needs the infrastructure for charging has been done by the contractor. But I presume that doesn't mean a whole lot until we get the Con Ed to provide
Yes.
the electricity, transformers and all that other stuff.
Yeah, really I think the conduit's underground now.
Yes.
So it's in place, so we can finish the dock work, but yes, there's an electrical connection component to it.
Right, I just don't want everybody to think from what
Yeah.
you're saying, oh boy, we
That's a
can
great
now have,
clarification.
10 EVs.
It'll be ready to go as far as we can. Until you get the actual utility service. And whatever you guys whatever that.
Whenever they do.
And I would say the folks over at transportation fall into that category of unsung dedicated superstars.
Yeah. Right.
They were in full operation this summer and their site was fully torn apart, so.
You
kudos to that
coordinated
group.
very well.
And they even let us have construction meetings in their buildings, so that was great. They were.
Joe Bernardi was like a proud parent when we was done. He sent us a video about 30 seconds long, and I was trying to figure out what it was, because no bus goes through, it's just the parking lot. It's the new parking lot. He's so pleased.
Very easy to work with and accommodate while still doing all of it, so they were fantastic.
Josh?
Have we received any indication from Con Ed? Any
They-
further updates?
They have been very responsive of late, wouldn't you say, Brad?
Absolutely, and they actually proactively set up check-in meetings with us with their EV department, so every couple weeks we have a check-in. And I would say it sounds like we're getting pretty close to having everything finalized for them to come out and get things going for getting service in.
Thanks.
That's great. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, really, really good update.
Yeah. So just some high level points on project budget. We started the construction phase with a pretty nice contingency, healthy contingency as a percentage of the total construction value in contracts. And one of the things we track is the progression of the work relative to the expenditure of the contingency. So at this point, as of September 1st, contractors have requisitioned about 23% of the total project, you know, when, you know, the work between now and the end of next summer. That doesn't include the work that occurred in August, because we haven't received those requisitions yet, the payment applications. But the good news is, to date, the work that's been completed is outpacing the contingency spend on a percentage basis. So that's kind of my 15-year-old is working on the slope intercept equation, so it's slowly a lot. So, and the contingency expenditure includes all known, it doesn't necessarily mean we've written a change order, it includes everything we know that may be out there, so that's a good trend, that's what we want. So that means we're headed in the right direction. And we've also completed one of the major exposures of the project, which is rock excavation. So we've completed the bulk excavation at Spencer Field. We have a little bit more to go relative to concession stands and trenching, but we're confident that we are not going to see an extra there relative to rock expenditure. And of course, we do have a change order for work at transportation facility relative to rock, but I will say that contractor has been very reasonable to work with, and is actually ultimately offering better pricing to the district than the contract unit pricing. So we do thank him for being very cooperative in doing that work in a very expeditious way. So overall, we're in a very healthy spot in the budget.
Question on the contingency.
Yes.
Are you saying that of the contingency,
Yeah.
we've only used 6%?
Of the contingency, yes, not 6% total. So it's not 6%.
I just want to clarify, yeah.
So we've used 6% of 8%.
Exactly, yeah.
Of 10% of 8% of X million.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
that is a good, that's with the rock removal.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to say.
Less than,
Yeah.
that's less than 0.5% of the overall.
Yeah.
You know,
Budget.
we finished the near completion of the roofing project, and that actually is, you know, so there's a net credit coming back on that project, so kind of negative contingency expenditure there.
Yeah.
It is inclusive of rock at the transportation facility, and, you know, any other thing that we see that's on the rise, tracking, even though it's not official, that's in that. So,
That's fantastic.
That is fantastic, great job for doing it.
so as long as, you know, we want to keep that trend line.
Yeah,
So in budget construction, not very much contingency.
So one question, going back to transportation, I know in years past, one of the issues raised by our transportation supervisor had been staff parking.
Mhm.
And the fact that with the, I guess, the limited space in the transportation facility behind the gate, folks have to park along the street, and you know, there was difficulty. We had talked of this 4 years ago, is there anything being done about it? With that increase in the size of the parking facility, is it anticipated, and I guess this is and Denise, Brad, Joe, and perhaps you guys as well, anticipated that there will be any ability to meet some of those concerns, or is it that the additional space will be because of the needs for additional vehicles and the jockeying of EVs to charge them? And what do you think?
I would say it's a little of both. We do have probably an extra 8 to 10 spots for our staff, which is fabulous. And then we also have space within the lot for charging, so it's a little of both.
Okay.
And there's also currently buses that are going to be, they've been decommissioned, so those are currently on the lot. I think we have 6 buses that are waiting to go out to auction, so there's a shuffle of.
Yeah.
You know, all the different pieces.
Presumably you could take the buses that are waiting to go to auction and move them off the lot. If you could find some other place to keep them. But that's, that's administrative.
Yeah.
Okay,
We like to keep them.
I know.
Right, yeah, so.
All right, this slide is a budget summary. High level, basically what we want to get out of this, with the board is that we are trending as Walter had mentioned, we're trending well with contingency dollars, but we're also trending well in overall cost expenditures. The numbers in blue represent actual committed costs to date. And you can see that there's a remaining project cost number on the bottom of about 3.5 million. There will be obviously more costs that come out of that over the course of the next year through the summer of 25. However, just like Walter is saying, we also are trending overall in a very good direction. And still see the project on budget and overall toward by the other project on schedule.
If I did my math right. 3.4 of that amount's contingency.
Not all of that is construction. So there's some other contingencies built in there that aren't earmarked for construction.
Okay.
So it's a little different way to look at it. I would say your construction is slightly less.
Slightly.
Yeah, you know, I don't advertise it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sure, no, I understand.
Here we go. So talk a little bit about what's gonna happen. Busy year, right? Coming up.
You guys ready?
Yep.
So since June, I mean, I feel like we've been going 90 miles an hour here, and I think a lot of the administration can attest to that. Meetings and conversations and construction and how about education and educating your students, you know, all these things going on is incredible. Yeah, that's just gonna keep getting more intense as the summer as the school year goes along. And next summer. So we are starting to look at perhaps little micro projects that we're able to do during the school year that doesn't affect your educational process to try and start minimizing the work or preparing for the work that's going to take place over the summer of 2025. Summer of 2025, this was a drop in the bucket compared to summer 2025. So we have our hands full preparing for that. Yeah, we'll work very closely with everybody so that we're ready to go in June and get it done in August. Upcoming work plan, CET. We're gonna do a lot of upgrades in the gymnasium. We're still planning on doing that outside courtyard renovation into outdoor classrooms, continuing to do rooftop air conditioning work. We're waiting for those long lead equipment to come in order for us to complete that. But want to get that up and running as quickly as possible. Interior renovations, including ceilings and floors and lighting and HVAC, and a whole bunch of work all throughout, including the library as well. Middle school flooring, interior renovations throughout. We're gonna try and get those in where we can. We are definitely gonna take advantage of all of your holidays coming up. We've got like 2-week holidays for winter and spring breaks. Woo-hoo. That's like twice as much time as we normally have. And so we're gonna take advantage of that. Also at PVC.
I will say Brad is not.
Brad.
Yeah, Brad.
It's less.
Yeah, he's a little bit more convincing, but student support center renovations at PVC, play areas at PVC. We talked, of course, about the playground area that's going to take place. High school auditorium, of course, is planned on being done, as we mentioned earlier, around the turn of the year. Cafeteria and science rooms, which are the areas that are above it, the I class.
Innovative learning.
Innovative learn, I learned. So we're looking to start, we're hoping that all the other areas that we are renovating now will be prepared for November, which is right on task for when we had planned it to do the switch over to utilize those spaces. occupy them and then start taking over areas that are currently being occupied by the school. Yeah, and that's gonna be another exciting step that's gonna take place before the Christmas holidays. And see the next steps happening. So I'm sure we're gonna be in front of the board again. Very near future, talking about what those things are and what we're gonna be doing. Oh, we mentioned stair and lift on the outside there. And then with Spencer Field, we talked about the new track, the grandstands and the concession line. So got work cut out for us, right? That's a lot of stuff. But we're excited and like everybody's saying, we're really happy with the work of the contractor to date. We've got good people that are doing good work here. Couldn't be prouder.
I just want to add one high level clarification. We're kind of in the weeds of the schedule, but the big picture is that really not a lot that's going to happen at PVC or CET during the school year. It might be this, I
Yes.
mentioned little micro projects. There will be a lot that happens here. And we have a plan, worked with the building level administration and staff. With that plan, we're coordinating that with the instructional schedule. And then of course, work will continue at Spencer. So those are the kind of two big work areas through the school year. Everything else is preparation for summer 25.
Another group of people that we couldn't do without them. All right. Project schedule update. Really easy to read, right? This is similar to the one schedule that we had out in that we presented to the board back in June. It indicates areas that we have work that we've completed and the work that's planning. All of the things that we've discussed already is built on this schedule. There are a couple of details that are not necessarily on here, but the timelines remain the same. In other words, taking over the spaces in the new building that we're renovating now, removing them out of the TV studio and the kitchen for the renovations and so on and so forth is still exactly how we planned. There are little odds and ends that we're still adjusting in terms of these overall scope and schedule. That we will work very closely with the school to achieve those things, but those won't be done during the school year, as Walter had mentioned, with the exception of stuff that's actually happening live here at the high school. Okay. That's good. All I have for that.
I just have one other thing to say. I just want to say thanks, Sarah. Really doing all the heavy lifting.
We're just a face.
Thank you both for overseeing all this amazing work. And kudos to the facilities team, Brad, and all the teachers and staff for rolling with their punches and transitioning to swing space. It's a huge endeavor. We're very proud of what you guys have done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, again, thank you for the hard work on this to everyone involved. My question, as it always is, when I look at a project schedule like this, is what's your biggest worry?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the kind of thing
What
I
is-
was gonna ask.
What's the one-
balls in the air right now.
What's the one thing that keeps you up at night? If you had to pick one. I'm sure there's plenty, but.
Yeah, I think the one heading into this summer was the rock. We really didn't know how the rock was going to play out, and I'm very happy where we are.
I know that's hard to predict.
It's impossible to predict, but is there anything else?
Yeah, both in time and cost, right? So getting out of the ground, most of our costs that we find and changes tend to be things underground. Once you get out of the ground, then the possibility of having these large scale costs decrease considerably. So yeah, I agree. I'm very, very happy about that outcome. We're working very closely in a lot of areas, and we're doing a lot of things, in the building live while the educational process is happening. It's always nervous for me because we want to make sure we minimize disturbances that we have. We continue to work on doing better with that regard, but we do a lot of pre-planning for that. And as long as we keep the open line of communication with your building staff, which they have been, again, another group of fantastic people. We've had really good conversations about needs, both from both sides. That's been very helpful, but it's also very stressful.
I think the next big hurdle for us technically is just procurement and delivery of materials, right? So bleachers and field lights and HVAC units and all these things that take a little equipment, all these things that take a little bit of time to get, and we need to get them in the appropriate amount of time so we can do the work. But it's underway.
And I guess the last thing that I have is we're gonna talk more about the actual work that's gonna take place over the summer of 2025 in future meetings.
Okay.
And it's a lot, it's a lot. So, you know, I'm always worried about, can we realistically do that in a 7.5 week, 8 week period in the summertime? And we have to evaluate that when we get there. Because, you know, we're gonna have to see where we are at that time and whether we're willing to take on that amount of work and that amount of service. There's gonna be external challenges with building maintenance and cleaning and things like that, that we're gonna really have to focus on to make sure we can deliver that building as beautiful as it was the first day of school this summer, this year. So that's a big word.
If it makes you feel any better, this is not a project that keeps me up at night. I think it's, to be honest, it's well planned. You have great contractors.
They
A
all
lot of work is going into this, and there isn't something that, you know, losing sleep over right now. We are in good shape.
And what you don't see is the behind the scenes of all of the submittals and everything that we're working on. And, you know, if someone were to say to us, oh, don't worry about it, we don't need to do that yet. We're saying, no, we need to do it now, because we wanna have all that cleared, you know? And I think oftentimes a lot of the problems we run into are when they say, well, it's not here on time. We didn't get a sink, we didn't get this, we didn't get that, but we wanna prepare ahead for next summer because we don't want any drugs. So we're reviewing things that are going in next summer already. Now, have them stored and ready to go.
So the idea is to store them, you know, order, like,
Depends on the contractor,
right,
yeah.
but you know, order those things now and put them in a warehouse somewhere, so we have them, as opposed to a just-in-time kind of ordering that you hear about.
Right,
in
and so working
order
with,
deals,
we
et cetera.
know what those, hopefully what those long lead time items are, and that we're able to kind of review them now, get those ready to go, measure things we need to measure, whenever we can get in. Get it going.
So I'm imagining with what Kevin talked about, part of the discussion with Denise and with building leadership, et cetera, is gonna be, all right, as we get closer, what is the contingency plan if we think the gymnasium at CET just can't be done by August
Exactly.
28th? And all right, what are you gonna do to do your phys ed in another locale for a month, and we'll just be able to, you know, close that off, or whatever those things are, because I know, you know, we don't want to be saying, well, we didn't get that done this year, we'll wait till summer 26. Contractors don't want that, we don't want that.
So that was completely hypothetical.
I know.
And we have no intentions of not finishing it next summer, but you bring up a very good point, and that is very true. We will work very closely with the administration and the architect team and the contractors. In the event that we have situations like that, we will have a plan B and a plan C and probably a plan D.
We focus a lot on positive outcomes in our work, but we are also doomsday planners, so I mean, we're preppers in that regard. We're always constantly working through the scenarios of what could happen.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Have a great
Thank
school
you very
year.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have, I don't know if it's, I think it's more for you, Denise. Not all of our spaces are air conditioned, right? When was the last time there was a feasibility study that was done? And
I do believe that we looked at that, and I think, do you recall what that number was, Walt?
I don't recall off the top of my head. We looked at air conditioning mainly at the high school. as part of the prerequisite and feasibility study. And I think we did talk to Denise about updating those numbers to see not only in the high school, but everywhere else. That doesn't have air conditioning.
Yeah.
To get there. So we like,
I think it was approximately 15 million,
Yeah,
for the high school.
just the
alone.
high school.
Yeah,
How much?
I think it was about 15 million.
Wow.
And that was a couple of years ago.
Has any of the work being done impacted that number?
You mean adding air conditioning?
Has any of the work made it easier to add air conditioning
Hmm.
or not?
In all the buildings, when you're retrofitting, nothing really makes
Nothing, yeah,
adding
yeah.
air conditioning easier.
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything we can point to the high school that would have simplified that process going forward. And I also don't think there's anything that's inhibiting us. So we haven't gotten in our own way, so to speak, if that were to, a future project.
Right, if you wanna think about preparing for the future of it, upgrades for like electrical services and things you can think about doing as smaller packages. But as a big package, it's quite costly.
If I remember correctly, and we talked sometime last year, a request was made by someone and to just kind of give us, if you will, an indication of what areas of the school buildings are air conditioned and what areas are not, so that that ties into a consideration in the future. And so I will, I guess, ask that.
We have that.
We have that.
Yeah, we have it diagrammed out now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that.
We don't have the numbers to go with.
You're talking, you don't have the numbers of cost.
Right, but we work together with Brad and the team
So,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a survey of the building which covers pre-existing air conditioning that's being done as part of this project, and then non-air
What's
conditioning.
not?
No, that brings, I guess, another thought, but if air conditioning 100% of the building is, we'll call it 20 million. Is there an opportunity to, based on the schematics and buildings or areas that aren't air conditioned, to say, we can air condition 80% for 5, or what have you? Is there, because that last 20% is always going to be the hardest to achieve. Is it worth looking at it from that perspective to see, or do we have to actually make a decision to pursue this project before we undergo that kind of analysis?
I think we can do some homework on it and identify any areas that are a premium expenditure. As opposed to using a standardized system that could be installed, using normal techniques. So we can work on that.
Yeah, I mean, and that, that probably would not be doable with any of the savings that we're talking about, because we've committed to the public that we are gonna do the work
this
that we
project,
said
yes,
in this
exactly.
project. And if we spend less, well, we're not borrowing as much,
We just don't. Yeah.
or we're not using as much of our capital reserve. And that would give us the opportunity to say, okay, well, maybe we can bite off this little project to deal with this once we know it.
Mhm.
And, that helps going forward.
Yeah, it's probably worth just exploring and looking into.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe helpful.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.
Have a great night, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in the morning. Thanks for coming, everyone.
You good?
Yeah, you're good.
Have a good night.
Hi, Brad.
Hey, Brad.
Moving on to item 3.2, child nutrition program consultants. Recommended action. Resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the agreement of services between Nato Nutrition and Croydon Harmon School District as child nutrition program consultants for the 2024-25 school year.
So moved.
Second,
On the question, All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Item 4.1, instructional personnel recommendation. Recommended action, resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, hereby appoints Kimberly Galena as an elementary teacher, elementary tenure area at the Pier Van Cortlandt Middle School at a salary of $103,509, MA step 12. Ms. Galena is appointed to a 3-year probationary term as an elementary teacher commencing on August 28th, 2024, and probationary term ending on August 27th, 2027, in the tenure area of elementary. In order to be eligible for appointment to tenure, said teacher must receive at least 3 APPR ratings of effective or highly effective pursuant to section 3012-D of the education law during the 3-year probationary term and may not receive an ineffective rating in the final year of probation. Ms. Galena has professional certification in childhood education grades 1 through 6. Do I have a motion?
So
Second.
you said that so.
You guys volunteer.
Oh.
Okay. Where am I? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Moving on. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm hearing some noise from the public. If we can please keep it down. Item 4.2, instructional personnel recommendation amendment. Recommended action, resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the instructional personnel recommendation amendment as presented.
So moved.
Second.
So as I understand this amendment, it is basically to set forth the salary for this individual based on the
I can, yeah,
agreement.
so there's an increase in the step because
Ah.
the teacher received additional credits
Gotcha,
after we had approved the appointment.
gotcha, okay.
And it's also then a 3-year probationary term versus a 4-year probationary term.
Hmm. No, there was a.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was
It was
written as a 3 and not.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was written as a 4 and now it's a 3.
Okay, so see, I did read that right. Sorry, I was.
Which makes sense because it's.
Because she was previously tenured.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Right, whatever.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, now it's really correct.
I really got it.
So, yep, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Who were the movers and?
You and Josh.
You and
I
Josh,
did? I don't even remember.
you first, you moved it, and then Josh second.
I don't even remember.
Item 4.3, transition support and planning for English language learners. Recommended action, resolved that the Board of Education hereby approve the appointment of Kirby Mosenthal and thank you, as transition support and planning for English language learners at a stipend of $1,000 each.
So moved.
Second.
So that's Sarah
Mhm.
on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Okay. I don't see it, so I'm gonna add it.
It's right here.
5.1?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay. Recommended action, resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves all the items under the consent agenda.
So moved.
I will second that.
Josh and Neil. On the question?
Moment.
You're good? All in favor?
Hi,
Opposed, same, motion carries. We will now move into our second hearing of the public. For members of the public who may wish to address the board, you do so at the podium. Please state your name, district residence, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Just one last thing. I'm going to request that the new board leadership consider a policy that questions be followed up from the hearing of the public. So that when we ask questions, that either a board member or an administrator, please follow up with us. This was done in the past. The superintendent used to call up people who had questions immediately after the meetings to address them or have an administrator contact them. So I would like to request that because I'm looking back at all my emails and I still have the same questions that were unanswered. One of which is, again, I asked the question, who is responsible for oversight of academic related matters, including the National Honor Society? I would like to know who is looking at the national standards. The average number of students who get inducted is about 10%. Last year, 45% of your class was inducted into the National Honor Society. So again, I'm addressing academics. That's why I'm here, academics. I would love to hear more about it. I would love to see that we focus on it. And that is one of my concerns. If everyone gets a trophy, everyone gets A's, everyone's in the National Honor Society, it is a detriment to the student body. Because there is no differentiation amongst the students, and it is a problem. The last thing is, let me just see my notes, I apologize. The follow-up, so that's really what I'm asking about, and let me just see, can someone please provide me with information pertaining to the decision SUNY education versus APs? From my research, the trend in this school district has been going away from SUNY education. More of our kids are going to diverse schools. Doesn't matter if they're high academic, low, whatever, private schools, out of town schools. And in my random research, I have found that most in-house SUNY state schools are not accepted by many of those schools. Even when looking at the correspondence from one of the teachers in the high school that sent to the parents in a Google Classroom and about choosing between college and that class and SUNY education, it clearly states AP is the golden standard. So my concern is very simple. I would love an answer. Who is on the committee who made that decision? I have to assume you did not defer to just one individual because there's no one in the school district who had a PhD and who was in that area for years. Okay, so I would like to know who is involved in that decision making? May I please see, I can follow you if you want the research. What schools in Westchester County moved from AP to SUNY, in what disciplines? And who is on that task force? Because I have to assume that research was done. I would really like to know that. Thank you.
Hi, Erica Loudon, Enfield Avenue. I just wanted to speak about the topic of air conditioning and the cost of installing air conditioning in our school. I just spoke with my husband, who is a former commercial HVAC project manager. He was really shocked by the price quoted tonight of $15 million for just the high school. He also worked on the AC system at PVC when the district built the 5th grade wing many years ago. Additionally, he wanted to point out that I wanted to point out there are children at CET who I believe this past school year had seizures and needed medical attention due to the fact that the classrooms were so hot. And my husband wants to let everyone here know there are many ways to provide air conditioning to children at CET or to people who are very sensitive when classrooms go over 89 degrees. You don't have to get some state-of-the-art air conditioning system that costs $15 million. And that's just something to take note of. Thank you.
If I think through the drive, you know, I'm always shocked at these school board meetings when we talk about building and construction. Rightfully, you spend a lot of time on it to make sure that taxpayer money is not wasted on additional school budgets when we don't have the electricity and stuff like that. Or whether we're overpaying and war. This district does a pretty good job following up as it's being built, so it's not shoddy built. What I'm shocked at is you don't spend the same or more amount of time evaluating the education provided by the principals of the 3 schools in this district, where you question them about what the outcome is in this grade, and this grade, and this grade, in this subject, what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are in public, so we know what their weaknesses are, not so we can beat them over the head. Some people do that, no, so they can be improved upon. That should be discussed as long and as hard, or doubly as long, doubly as hard, as you quiz these people who provide construction materials for new electric lights in your stadium. So I'm continually shocked with that. Maybe it's because it's so easy to fight over a staircase versus whether kids are getting a good academic education, mathematical education, PVC or someplace else. I also expressed my shock at the advocacy committee. For years, you have school districts in this state that you're supposed to advocate for, not only your own district. But if city districts are being overwhelmed by people they cannot handle because they're being overwhelmed by language requirements they can't possibly deal with because they're dealing with 100 different languages. And you don't say anything when you go to these regional meetings or these state meetings, I'm ashamed of you for that. When you don't go to these state meetings and these regional meetings and defend women's sports, when over the past 3 months, you've seen women beat up by men, competing in sports they had no business being in, no matter what their excuse or mental problems are. When you have championship teams in soccer in Western countries like Australia be dominated by 5 men on a women's team, and the women didn't score 1 goal all season except in the championship game, and you don't speak up for women's sports, shame on you. Just because it's a state, you are elected officials, you're not paid, but you're elected to speak up for people who can't speak. And what's happening in women's sports because of transgenderism is a major scandal. Lastly, your cooperation with the transgender scandal across the board, with those operational, meaning operating on children or overdosing them with steroids, is a disgrace. You can't enter a horse in a race when they're overdosed with certain types of medicines, yet you will let them enter sports when they're pumped up on steroids. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public like to address the board? With that, we will move into board reports. We'll start with advocacy.
Okay, so I would love some help just on some of the substance, but our last meeting was on August 13th. And we have another upcoming meeting on 17th of September. One key change that we made for the committees just on the chair position, which I've taken on. I think my first day of formally chairing will be on the meeting of the 17th. And look forward to chairing the committee. Would love some help on any of the.
Certainly, so I think in our first meeting, we talked a lot about some of we're heading into the Westput Advocacy Committee, first Advocacy Committee meeting of the year, and discussing what the legislative priorities were last year and what we expect or what we would like to see for this coming year. And then in terms of our meeting on the seventeenth, that will be the day following the West Putt advocacy meeting to discuss the NISBA resolutions. So the NISBA resolutions packet should have been sent around to everyone, so you will see that the proposed resolutions, there are thankfully quite a fewer number of them this year than there were last year, than the massive amount that Anamika presided over as our representative last year. So we'll be discussing those in looking at sort of what regionally there was a discussion on, and whether a consensus came to about those resolutions, and then we will look at them from Croton Harmon and bring our recommendations forth to the board at our meeting on the 19th.
Right, so we need to make sure that we get time for that on the agenda too, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Did I miss any?
No, I think you covered all of it. I guess if someone hasn't come across the resolutions packet, because we do get a lot of emails, let us know and we can forward it to you.
Absolutely.
I believe we received something
From Danielle Grosso.
from Daniel Grasso on this, sometime this week.
Yep, I think she actually sent an update this morning. There was some
Oh, right,
switches and
right.
changes from what the DEI committee had recommendations were. So that updated proposal should be in everybody's inbox.
And so that I know for myself, West Putt, the 16th, 6:30.
Correct.
Okay.
7, I think.
Or 7.
7, yeah.
Okay,
I can confirm that for you.
just
But yeah.
my other half an hour.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Moving on to audit, if you guys are done? Yep,
Yeah.
okay. Audit, we are scheduled to meet on October 10th to review the 2024 financial statements. We're back at the board at the time. Board development, we have a full retreat on the 15th. We haven't actually met yet, but I
The
think
15th of October.
October, yes, October, sorry. We'll all work on trying to get a meeting on the calendar for development in advance of that treatment. Anything else? Communications?
So the communications committee has not met yet, but we have planned a meeting for the 26th. Do I have that right? Something we settled on. So we'll be meeting on the 26th for the first time. And moving on from there. So by the October business meeting, we will have an update.
Thank you. And policy.
Policy has not met, we'll be meeting on the 18th. September 18th, right. And with respect to the ad hoc committee to deal with those outstanding policies. We will have to schedule a meeting, we'll have to talk to Josh.
We'll work on the
We'll work on the schedule, but I will just, we'll try to get those moving as expeditiously as possible.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, on the roof. And one might ask the question, how can you work on the roof in the dark, but I don't know.
Okay. Moving on to polling of the board. Does anybody have anything for polling?
Just a quick item for polling. You should have also in your emails all received the Lower Hudson Education Coalition's annual survey. If I could prevail upon you all to fill out the survey. And that is a very important data collection that the LHEC uses to look at and set legislative priorities across the county, across the area. So regionally, like we've actually included in the Lower Hudson Education Coalition this year, has expanded now to Orange County as well. So we will be looking to gather all that information. So if everybody can fill out that survey and get that back, that would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else? Paul? Yep. Neil.
2 things. First, on Monday, the Health and Safety Committee, of which I'm the board representative, conducted a walkthrough of the schools Monday, a week ago, to see the work that had been done over the summer, which we heard about tonight. We went to the high school and we looked at the work that had been done, the work that was in the middle, like the flex room and those bathrooms that were mentioned, the single-use bathrooms on the corridor on the first floor had not been completed, so we didn't see them, but they almost completed. And then we saw lots of areas where the work is ongoing, such as the auditorium and the lift and stairs to the basement. I will say that looking at the work the Monday before, the day before the new staff arrived, it was impossible for me to believe that it would all be cleaned up and ready by, 8 days hence, but it obviously has been. So we walked through high school, we walked through PVC, we walked through the elementary school, even though there was no work being done there, and we had some discussion about those areas that are going to be done later in this year, how the areas where the work is continuing will be separated from students and staff, to keep students and staff safe. One of the roles of the Health and Safety Committee in these walkthroughs is to ask the questions about that safety. Make sure that student staff are not going to have access to areas that they should not. And I think we had a pretty good sense of what is, what is happening. And so we're going to meet again on October 26th, and the intention at that point is to come to the high school and say, all right, all of those things like video production that wasn't completed and wasn't moved from its current location will be completed. So we'll be able to see the new video production facility, and where that is now will then be demolished to create a larger cafeteria. And so we'll kind of see the next iteration, we understand, of those moving parts that we heard about. And presumably also we'll see some work that, actually, I guess the innovative learning space is not going to do anything until next year. All right, we walk through that, but that's still going to be class. So we'll, that's what we did. The other thing that I wanted to bring up in polling is just that, as we know, the NISBA convention is October 20 to 22nd, and that's a Sunday to Tuesday. And I will be attending the pre-convention law seminar, as I do every year. I will circulate the materials as I do, and I hope I will be able to give like a brief or not so brief synopsis of what I learned, if I get the energy to write that up. That's about it. I'm just wondering, I know I'll be there all days.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anybody else is interested in signing up, they contact Denise. Is that the process? Yes.
Is anybody else, just so I know? You're signed up?
Yeah, but
Okay,
for Monday and isn't it, what I'm signed up for, I thought was Monday, Tuesday.
well, you signed up for
It
everything.
starts Sunday afternoon and then it'll go through to Tuesday, like midday.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the full schedule.
Okay, so what we should do, not now, but when we know, is kind of look at the educational offerings
And split them up.
and
Yep.
see which ones we, everybody wants to go to, which ones we want to cover.
Yeah.
And I know administrators may go as well.
Very soon they should have an app as well.
Yeah.
They'll activate the app so that you can select other.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else for polling?
Well, is it on your list to remind us about back to school night signups? Because I think we have some holes. Or I can tell you where we have
But you
holes.
can.
Sure,
for-
because I
thank
just
you for
looked it
bringing
over.
up. Yeah.
So just as a reminder, back to school nights do start next week. I think as Omar said during his reading of the president's report, but it looks like we do not have a board representative right now for CET back to school night, Thursday the 12th, and then the second half of it on Tuesday the 17th. So folks could take a look and see if they have availability. I know it seems like we've pretty evenly divided the other 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've just got 2 to for people to sign up for.
So you said the
Which
12th,
one? Yeah.
12th and 17th?
The 12th and the 17th, they're both
CET.
6:30 PM, CET first and second grade. And then CET third and fourth grade is Tuesday the 7th.
I can do the Tuesday, 17th.
You want me to click yes for you or do you?
No, I'll do it. I'll do it.
I know, but I'm not, it's like hard to find these people sometimes. I'm just saying.
I did it for you.
Yeah.
I have it open.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have it open.
And,
So you're on the
So we
17th.
need somebody for the 12th.
for the
and
12th.
I am not
You will
available.
not.
Let me. What the 12th
Yeah.
looks like. This is the 12th of September.
Yeah, so it's a week that we
One
don't
today.
have a meeting, and then Josh, you did sign up for doing PVC the following week.
Yeah, there's a reason why I didn't sign up for
For that
12th.
one,
I
yeah.
had a conflict.
I'm in Jersey that day.
Okay,
Let's make it back.
so I'll talk to Anna to see, because I think everyone else has signed up for, like, we all have a slot, so I'll just see if Anna wants to do one, otherwise I think I have availability, although they did have to hear from me last year, the same parents, they may not want to again.
Will
They're gonna
we,
be-
Do you think they
will
were
we
nice?
receive a script from Jack?
I thought I was very memorable, so
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I think
That's
she's
good.
working on talking.
Yes.
That you get something to the board by Saturday.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And since you brought that up, Anamika,
Yes,
I'll also plug in the BOE Learning Walk.
Yeah, 'cause those are
it's
trying,
out
right?
there and I missed it, so I will be looking at it and signing up. And what we try to do is limit it to no more than 3 board members
Mhm.
to sign up
And-
at the same time.
And if there's only one, we.
Try to
we
reschedule because it is a
reschedule.
commitment from the administrative team to take the time off and.
So basically, we need to have 2, we can't have more than 3.
Yeah.
So. But there were several options for people to sign up.
we will also, right now, since we've done this, we'll send out a link right now, so everyone has it at the top of their email, how you can get to all these links. Because they're all now in one spot, so you won't be able to lose them.
Which I will say, approximately 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago, you did that,
Yes, I did.
which I, sometimes go back to when I think about it, but.
Well,
you're gonna
I'll
do
try
it
to do it
again.
again, but I have to
Yeah.
actually find it myself, so that could take a while.
Now you know how I feel when I was asking for the EBAS.
Yes,
Yep,
oh, look, I found it, so I'm gonna send the link again, so that we all bookmark it, or whatever it is that you do to,
Mhm.
keep these things.
Thank you, Anamika.
Sure thing.
Anything else for polling?
No, no.
Okay. Items, moving on to 6.4, items needed for the next Board of Education meeting. The next meeting is a work session. It will be held on September 19th. And the administration will be, not mistaken, will be walking us through the building level goals with the board.
so.
Yeah.
Question about that. The district goals,
Those will be shared as well.
those would be shared as well, so not only the building level, but the district as well, because I know. One of our discussions, I guess. At our retreat or before that, is gonna be the board. goals,
Yeah.
which kind of key in with what we'll hear on the 19th.
Right, yeah.
Good,
That's gonna, actually, I could tell you Denise, maybe try to find time for board development to meet. In the next couple weeks.
We've got like back-to-back committee meetings next week, so it might be not next week, but 2
Oh,
weeks.
2
Just-
weeks out, yeah.
Because it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
for the next 2 weeks, and then we also have Westbud, so
So 3rd week of September,
might be. a good
Well,
starting.
Can
We
you
can
refresh
tackle-
my memory? What's the date of the audit meeting?
Audit is October tenth.
It's right before the October
Yeah.
tenth board meeting.
I think it's just not showing up on the calendar.
Do have it.
It's not on the board calendar.
Are you
Did?
on the
I'm
committee?
seeing it.
I'm not, but typically all the committee meetings are listed on the board calendar.
I see it on the board calendar.
Okay, so maybe it did get posted to the board calendar. Maybe it's just.
Yeah, I think
Some
it's-
people's board calendars.
I know it's on
Well,
my.
no, I can see communications, I can see, so it's, you know,
Okay.
the other things that I'm not on, so it might just be a glitch.
Yeah.
Computers do that.
Okay. So it's,
Thank you.
yep, sure.
And I even added it to my work calendar, so I don't get double booked.
Okay. So with that, Sarah?
Actually,
Yeah,
in terms of
go
things for next meeting, and of the things you have open, do we have, if we do not have two people signed up for, the community meet and greet ahead of time, we can make sure that we have
yes,
two people, signed
I
up for that
believe
ahead of the
I
next
am
meeting.
signed up
So Neil
for,
signed up.
Yeah, great. So if we need one other, yeah, I wasn't sure if we had
Yeah.
two people or not, but
I can't do it because I'll be doing PVC back to school.
I think Neil and I had it
on the
on the
19th.
nineteenth.
okay, great.
so you guys.
Yeah.
Those links are also in the handy folder that you just received at the top of it.
There we go.
That's great. Can I say whoever developed this? Was it you and Annika? Great,
Happy
great
to-
organizational skills, much appreciated.
No worries.
Just add myself to that.
Well, you were encouraged to put stuff in it, because then it's like you don't, you know, put your stuff in it, and we don't find it. It works.
Okay,
Is it right that our session, this is looking way ahead, but I was looking at 12:19 and this work session starts at 7 that day? Is that
there is a
accurate?
meeting that starts at 7.
It's
Okay.
The work
12:19.
session, the
Yeah.
December work session is the tenure stuff, so
Excellent.
yeah.
So that's to meet the BOE would be 6:30.
6:30. Yeah.
Great.
That, I don't know if we should actually schedule a meeting
Because
either,
it's the
because that's an entirely, executive session.
Oh, you're talking about in December?
Work session,
Yeah.
Yeah, December.
the December work session.
Okay, so
I
we
mean,
should
I
take
think,
that
I
one.
think we take.
I mean, we
it
can,
closer,
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
it's like, if it's, you know, 30 minutes and people can just be there for those 30
Yep.
minutes, it's, you know, I think the consistency is helpful, but
Yeah.
we have to also figure out which, you know, who's owning the timing and scheduling.
So that one will be at presumably at the DM.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, although we have helped meet the BOEs there as well.
That's true.
Anything else for 6.4?
No.
With that, recommended. Board of Education hereby adjourns the meeting at 9:15 PM.
So move.
Second.
All in, oh, sorry.
What's that?